Alright, I'll admit it. I used to sit in my screenwriting class and I was hearing these words being thrown around and I had no idea what they meant, and I was a little afraid to ask because there were all like the film bros in the class who would be like, "What? You don't know what that means?" And that's part of why I have my channel and I post about what I do, because I want to create a space where if you are earlier on your journey like I was, I had no idea I wanted to write scripts at the time, there's a space for you to learn without judgment. So today I want to talk to you about script terms you need to know and just kind of go through and explain them a little bit so you can kind of feel more comfortable understanding them, using them yourself, and just kind of be part of the conversation when you're talking about this industry and what you want to do. Or if you're just interested in the entertainment industry and you want to have a little more know-how about what kind of goes on with your favorite shows and movies and how all of that gets made. Now for today, I've just pulled together a few different terms that I think are important to know and sometimes can not really be super clear if, again, you're not familiar. We'll go through those, but I could do about 1,000 parts on this video, so don't worry, this will not be all of it. Let's start it strong with logline. You may have also heard this as an elevator pitch. Essentially, a logline is a 1 to 3 sentence summary of your project. It's very short, it's very quick, it doesn't go too into detail, it's just the broad strokes, but it encompasses your project. Now let's talk about beats. And also beat sheets, because they kind of go hand in hand. I've talked about this a lot recently because in my daily writing together videos, I've been working on outlining the beats for a new project I've been working on, so this has come up a lot. The beats are what the big story and the storylines break down into. They're those scenes and moments that the story is built on. Then the beat sheet, once you get the beat part, beat sheet kind of makes sense. It's just where you kind of organize all of it. So I like to break it down into different acts and center the beats on that, and then kind of almost do like a drop down. A lot of people will do it with note cards up on the wall. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but the beat sheet is where you organize your beats for your story. Then you've got a slug line. The slug line is where you kind of set your scene. It's where you say where a scene is happening and when. You'll see this in a script as interior or exterior, the setting, and the time of day. Now, I go a lot more into this in other videos, exactly how it should be formatted and what you should or should not write there. But just to keep it concise for today's video, that's all it is. It's just that heading you see at the top of every single scene in a script that's telling you when and where it's happening. Now let's talk about some acronyms. There are lots of different ones, but I'm just gonna go over 2 for now that you see a lot in scripts themselves. There is OS and VO. VO will probably sound more familiar to you. That's used in a lot of different areas, but VO is voiceover. So that is used when a character is speaking over a scene, but you're not actually seeing them. It's just a voiceover to the scene. You've got OS, which stands for off screen. So in that instance, it's very similar to a voiceover where you're not seeing the character that's there, but they're still in the room, right? The camera may not be on them, but they're in the scene. There's also OC, which stands for off camera, which is another version of off screen, but that's not really used so much anymore. Dual dialogue is a fun one, and it's one that you don't think to know about until you kind of need to know about it, but that's basically how you would format when 2 characters are talking at the same time, and there are a million different reasons to kind of set that up and ways to do that, but it's just how you format it on your script to indicate that that dialogue is happening at the exact same time. You wouldn't just say same time in like parentheses or anything like that. There's a way to specifically format it. And again, I've gone into this more in other videos where you can see exactly what I'm talking about, so don't worry if it's feeling a little bit like I'm still not getting this. And our last 2 for today are teaser and tag. I think more people are familiar with the term teaser. It's what you're seeing at the beginning of a show. Comedies are what are really known for the teasers. The comedy is where a lot of times they're super noticeable and they stick out even outside of the episode itself. It's usually just a little scene that will happen before the show's intro starts. And a lot of times, again, with comedies, it will be a funny little scene that just kind of sets up and gets you ready to get into the episode. And there are some that people love and they become kind of famous in their own right. Just like the teaser at the front end of the script, some shows will have a tag at the end. Again, it's a little more common in comedy just because there's a lot more freedom to kind of have these scenes that are a bit more separate from the specific storyline or anything like that. And just like the teaser, it's a little scene before the end credits roll. I know that there are so many different terms and phrases that can start to feel overwhelming when you don't understand them and you want to work in this industry and you want to be involved. So if there are specific terms that you've had trouble with or you just don't understand and you're kind of afraid to ask, let me know in the comments and I will put those into the next video I do in this little mini series we'll do, because I know that feeling. It's not fun, and like I said, this is a judgment-free zone for us to learn and grow and move on to the next stage in our journey. If you're ready to start moving on to the next step, you want to know how to structure your script. You want to make sure that your script looks how it needs to, because it's one thing to not really know how to answer and talk about certain terminology, but if you're sending your script to somebody and they open it and it looks nothing like it's supposed to, it can be a really big problem. So I have a whole video telling you exactly how to structure your scripts and make it look perfect. So go ahead and watch that video next, because you gotta make sure that's done right.